Hello. Hi, happy Saturday. Welcome. We've already got Doug was quick off the bat, as an ultra runner should be. Uh, he says, "Hey, lovely people. Sorry, I've been AWOL lately. That's fine. That's fine. You've been busy. You really keep yourself busy." And I saw your post earlier today, Doug, about thinking that you had a holiday and then realizing that you had to work. And today, I actually thought that it was Friday. So we're really lucky that I am actually doing this. I was so convinced it was Friday. And then when I found out it was Saturday, I was like, oh, that's rubbish because I've just like lost a day. So, but you know, that's kind of what's happening at the moment. Colleen is here. She says, good morning. I'm awake today. It's good to know that you're not sleep typing. That's typing. Justine says, hey, hello. And Colleen said about Doug that he looks like he's been very busy. He's always busy. That guy has a lot of energy. Johnny says, yay, I have a day off for once so I can actually watch it live. Johnny, welcome. You'll be happy to know that there is no chocolate in the salad today. So you'll be fine. Bridie, lovely name, and says, good morning. Hello. Okay, right. Today we are making a superfood salad. And it's a really, really lovely dish. Lots and lots of different flavours and textures and loads of great nutrition in it. So it actually makes like a whole meal. It's not just a salad. Oh, Vidya, hello. Vidya is one of my chef students. Paul is here. Thank you for coming along and keeping count. I don't know what I would do without you coming. Honestly, I would just be like, oh, it's the 100 and something show. I don't know. So thank you for doing that. And yeah, guys, if you want to share the show, this show, or any other show, but if you want to share this show, then okay, you can't be tipsy when you say that. If you want to share the show, click on the share button and then share it wherever you want to. So whether that's in like vegan groups, dare you to share it in like non-vegan food groups, controversial, or with your mates or whatever it is. Okay, so yeah, going back to what we're making today. I call it a superfood salad because it's got lots of things in there that we have been told are superfoods. Superfood is kind of like a kind of it's a bit of a kind of like food trend term, really. You know, 1 minute it'll be blueberries, the next minute it'll be turmeric, the next minute it'll be, you know, whatever. But so much food has amazing nutrition in it, absolutely amazing nutrition. So this kind of like covers all bases today, which is great. So Justine says about us doing 173 shows, so there's 173 recipes. Yes, but you have not counted the ones that are on the website that I haven't yet done a video for. So, or a live show for. So there are even more on the website. Connie says we need to do something big for the 200th. Yes, let's definitely do that. You guys can have a think about what that is. And Christine is here. Christine says, good morning. This will be our lunch, but just have got back from a brisk walk, so a cup of tea has to come first. Priorities, absolutely. A cup of tea first. And I think, Christine, you're in the UK as well. It's cold here. So I did think, oh, I know, I'll share a salad with everyone because it will be spring, it will be hot. If not hot, it will be at least warm, and we'll be thinking about salads. However, that has not happened, but there we go. Yeah, Justine and Colleen are being psychic with each other, which is great. Okay, right, so over to the overhead camera. I'll show you guys the ingredients that we're going to be using today, but just to say, with the ingredients for a recipe like this, you can really like swap them around with other things, you know, substitute for what you've got in the kitchen, what you've got in your cupboards, things that you like as well, and also the quantities. The quantities don't have to be exact at all. You know, with the baking recipes that I show you, they do have to be exact, so follow them to the letter. But with a recipe like this, it really doesn't have to be. Okay, so we're going to go over to the overhead camera, and just to prepare everybody else who doesn't know, there will be a rainbow somewhere, and you guys have to guess what is underneath the rainbow. And if you can, try to guess what the relevance of it is for today's show. That might be a bit of a tricky one today, though. Okay, right. So to the overhead camera. Right, so just to say, guys, I do have a kettle on the hob, and also I put my oven on. So if you guys are cooking along at home, get a kettle on, and get the oven on to 200 degrees Celsius. Okay, so I'll bring this up to the camera because it's probably a little bit blurry as it's all the way down there. This might be a difficult one for you guys. What's underneath the rainbow today, and what relevance does it have to our recipe? What's the recipe relevance? It's not a pumpkin, and it's not a pumpkin seed either. I knew that this, oh, Justine, tomato, it's a tomato. And she's guessed not just tomato salad or something. Okay, nearly. Okay, so this is here because I wanted to tell you guys how for a long time I thought a salad was comprised of iceberg lettuce, some cucumber, and pink tomato. Because for a long time, the only tomatoes that we got in the UK were pink. They weren't actually like properly ripe at all. And so I didn't actually think that I liked tomatoes. Really didn't like them. Definitely didn't like salad because it was just like these 3 pale, watery, tasteless ingredients and a bit of salt. And that was it. So I actually didn't really think that I liked salad. Sorry, just a second, let me take the kettle off there so it doesn't start whistling during the show. And then I went to Italy. Can't remember what year it was. I think I was in my early 20s, and I had bruschetta for the first time, and it was just like, because it was the only vegan thing that I could find at the festival I was going to, and I wasn't gluten-free at the time either, but yeah, it was the only vegan thing. I was like, okay, well, I'll just have to have tomatoes then, and I had it, and I was like, wow, like, just like my brain just exploded. Like, the amount of flavour that was in those tomatoes was absolutely phenomenal. And fortunately, tomatoes in this country have got substantially better, and Jeff is obsessed. He's actually going to be growing us some San Marzano tomatoes this year, which I'm really excited about. I don't know if you guys have ever tried San Marzano tomatoes, but oh my gosh, they are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Making Papa Pomodoro with San Marzano tomatoes. That's a mouthful as well. Okay, so no pink tomatoes, okay? No pink tomatoes, thank you very much. But salads can be so much more than that, and they can be a whole meal. But one of the benefits of having a salad like this is that it makes you full, but it doesn't make you feel bloated, which is absolutely amazing. Okay, so I'm going to go through the ingredients now. That was just a surreptitious ploy so that you could see what was underneath the rainbow. Doug said it's a rainbow salad. Yes, absolutely. Video says it looks like an heirloom tomato. Laugh out loud. I am a chef. Come on, give me that. It does look like an heirloom tomato. Absolutely. Denise is here. Denise says, good morning. Chef Dame Valid Videos, good morning. Justine said, is it bad that I am so competitive that I stopped work to try and guess what's underneath the rainbow? No, I think that's commitment. That is the actual type of commitment that I do quite like. So thank you, Justine. Jeff said, if the sun ever makes an appearance, I will be growing then. We will, definitely. I think it's going to come out, if we all wish really hard, it might come out late today. George says, wait, no tomatoes in the salad? No, but you could absolutely put them in there. I would suggest something like a sun-dried or a sun-blushed tomato, because this is like an extra special salad. It's an extra special salad. Okay, so first of all, we've got our quinoa. So I've got some whole grain, I call it whole grain quinoa from Hodmedod's, because it's got this kind of like more of a browny colour, like beigey colour, rather than being bright white or kind of cream that most of them are. And then we've got some stock powder to put in with our quinoa, so we're going to get that on to cook in a moment. And then we've got our sweet potato. You could swap that out for butternut squash, something like that would be great. We've got our edamame beans here, which you could swap out for peas. I know we've got a lot of pea haters in the room. We've got our kale. We've got some seeds and some nuts here. Again, things that you can, swap out for the things that you got in the cupboard. And then we've got our oil. We've got a citrus liquid here, which I will talk to you about later, and some tamari. So first thing first is that we have to get our quinoa on. So we've got 200 grams of white quinoa here. There we go. And I'm going to pop 500 millilitres of water into the pan. There we go. And 2 teaspoons of stock powder. And this is just to make it a bit more tasty. You can put a bit of salt in it if you want to as well. And then I'm going to pop the lid on, bring it up to boiling point, and then reduce it to a simmer. And that will just make it cook a bit quicker. So I'll pop that over on the hob now. There we go. If that starts boiling over, you guys will tell me, won't you? Please, 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 please. Okay. And now we've got our sweet potato. Doug said, "Give peas a chance." Was on my first ever vegan take. Ah, yes. Well, I do often think that when all the pea haters start, throwing around their comments about how much they hate peas, we'll get them liking peas eventually. I think quite often it's when people have had like bad experiences, particularly. I know in the UK, particularly when people have had bad experiences at school, and dinner ladies have made them eat something that they didn't like. They basically, like forced a kid to eat something that they didn't like and said that they won't be able to get up from lunch without actually eating it. And for anyone who is not in the UK, I don't know if you have dinner ladies, so you might not even know what a dinner lady is. So basically, when we were in like the cafeteria and we'd have our lunch, a lunchtime, obviously, although confusingly sometimes in the UK we call it dinner time when we're kids, go figure. And these ladies would be in charge of making sure that we ate what we should be eating and that we didn't like mess around and we didn't like have a massive food fight, that type of thing. But quite often I've heard people say that there was something that they didn't like as a kid, and a dinner lady would just like stand over them until they ate the whole thing, and it was just horrendous. Sometimes, it didn't stay down. So I think, sometimes like that can give us like a really, really bad food memory. By the way, guys, this is 400 grams, around 400 grams of sweet potato, clearly. I have washed it. I have not peeled it. And I'm just going to cut it into chunks. We're not going to add any oil to this. We're just going to whack it in the oven, okay? But I'm just doing it in like thumb-sized pieces. So it's not going to take too long to cook at all. And Justine says, "To be fair, I keep trying peas and no, I don't like them." That is very, very open-minded of you, Justine. Okay, and Jeff says, "All these haters like peas in a slightly ironic pod." Yes, absolutely. Doug said, "Remember pink semolina? The dinner ladies loved me as I always had extra." Oh, geez, that sounds horrible. Christine says, "We've eaten all of the edamame beans, so I'm using potted broad beans." Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, I thought you meant you just like sat there eating them while I was talking. Because, I do talk a lot in these things. So it would be understandable. Oh, Justine says I can eat pea crisps. Haha. So that's interesting. That is very interesting. How are you with like different forms of peas? So like mushy peas, of course. Or like pea soup, something like that, because it might just be more about the texture. Okay, so I've got a nice big wide pan here, and I'm just gonna pop all of the sweet potato on here. There we go. But really, guys, you can swap this out for any type of squash. Would be lovely, but any type of like root veg or even like peppers would be great, absolutely great. So I'm going to pop this into the oven. And I'll just turn the quinoa down while I'm there. So, sweet potato, no oil whatsoever. Okay, it doesn't need oil. So there are certain vegetables that will need oil when we bake them, but there are a lot of vegetables that actually don't need any oil because they've got enough water content of their own that they'll be fine without it. Now, the only things that I've found definitely need oil is aubergine does need oil, and beetroot does need oil because it kind of like dries out, and it isn't very pleasant. But pretty much most things are okay without any oil. So, you know, if you want to go like sans oil with most veggies, that's fine. Roast potatoes need oil, definitely need oil, but everything else is fine. So let me just see if we've got any questions that I need to answer. I think everyone reminiscing about their favourite or most hated dinner lady. Colleen says, in the US we have lunch ladies. Oh, you do. They don't make us eat though, they just serve lunch. Yeah, ours did both. Yeah, but that's the thing, we call them dinner ladies, right? But it's actually at lunchtime. And I remember as a kid, when the bell went, which meant, you know, that it was lunchtime, we would all like run to the cafeteria and go, dinner time! Yeah, it was lunchtime. So it was very confusing. Video says, I might be eating some edamames while you talk. Good. Justine says, no, definitely the taste and the texture. Oh, okay, so that's why you don't like peas. And she also said we hadn't noticed that you talk a lot. Normally I'm very, very quiet. And Paul has confirmed that the 200th episode will be on Saturday the 20th of November. Okay, hopefully we'll have seen some sunshine between now and then. Doug said, the only food I hated as a child was overcooked veg, sprouts and cabbage usually. My mother used to cook them way too long. I'm with you on that. I'm absolutely with you on that. But that's something you see a lot in the UK. Just really like, you know, vegetables that are cooked. And of course, as we know, and as Doug is familiar with, because you know, he's a dietitian, is that when you cook them for that long, like all of the nutrition goes out of them. There's very, very little nutrition left. And also they taste horrible. So George said, for years as a kid, I loved fresh peas in a pod, fresh from the garden, but hated cooked peas. That's interesting. I just pushed them around my plate, hoping they would magically disappear or hop off the plate. Doug said, now I pretty much eat anything vegan, but hate the smell of frozen mushrooms. Did frozen mushrooms smell? Do they? I'd say I've got some in the freezer, so I'm gonna have to have a smell after the show. Denise says, English dinner ladies were draconian. They were very, very scary. And Colleen says, let's start planning, for the 200 show. Yes, absolutely. Whatever you guys want to do, I'm up for it. Okay, right. Let's get on to the next part of the recipe. So while the sweet potato is cooking and also the quinoa is cooking, let me just keep an eye on it. We can do the rest of it. So we've got the kettle, we're going to need that in a moment. So first thing we do, actually, we'll do the kale leaves first. So sometimes when we get kale, it will be in like whole leaves. Sometimes it will be like this pack that I bought, where it's already shredded. And that can be handy, but it can also be a little bit annoying because there are these stalks that are still on it. So we want to get rid of those because they're not going to be very pleasant to eat. They're going to be very kind of chewy. You're going to be like, and it's not going to be so good. So we'll just get rid of the biggest ones that we can find. There we go. And then we're not going to cook the kale. We're just going to soak it in hot water. And when I say hot water, water that has just boiled. So very, very, very hot water. And that will help to wilt the leaves. So when we're working with kale or, you know, any other type of leafy green, we do have to use our judgment a little bit because if they're young leaves, then they'll be quite tender, much easier to eat. They don't need as much cooking to be soft, if any at all. But with the more established kale, it might be a bit too chewy. So you don't want to kind of like feel like you're a cow just kind of chewing on it, you know. There we go. So just grabbing all of these out. And, you know, you can still use the stalks, you know, pop them in a stock or a soup or, you know, something like that. Still got good nutrition in them. Definitely. And you can use a black kale. as well. You know, black kale is absolutely lovely. We also call it cavallonero, so you might know it by that name. Oh, Linda says, we have dinner ladies in Czech. Thanks to them, I became veggie. Oh no, oh right, okay. Was that because they turned you off meat stuff, or was it because you met one of them and they were veggie? Paul said, it could have been the start of a career as a magician. What's that about? Oh, you're responding to George and him trying to make his peas disappear. Oh, that would be a great reason to become a magician, actually, because I really want my peas to disappear. Okay, so I think I've got all of them. Now there's one errant one here. Oh, and another one. And another one. Okay, so I'm not done at all. That's okay, we've got like, you know, another 10 minutes until that stuff cooks. So we can make sure we've got all of them. There we go. Some little ones will be fine. Some little ones will be fine. It's just, you know, that isn't going to be very nice because, as I said, like, we're not really going to cook it. We're just going to soak the kale in hot water. Okay, so now just get rid of these. There we go. Just going to check on the sweet potato. There we go. Right, that's fine. Now, we don't normally need a rolling pin, but this is just in case the smoke alarm goes off, so I will be at the ready because basically I'm too short to be able to turn it off by myself, so I need a rolling pin. Okay, right. So we'll just pop some boiling water onto here. You'll see we have actually finally got a kettle, but it's one that doesn't have a heating element inside, which apparently is healthier. There we go. So, as I was putting the boiling water onto there, I think you could see the kale got less and less and less, and that's because it basically starts to wilt. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that just for a minute. Oh, Colleen says, what oven temperature for the sweet potato? So 200 degrees Celsius, 180 degrees Fahrenheit, gas mark 6. Mark 6. There we go. Okay, so you'll see it's really, really hot, this water, and I'm just swishing it around a little bit, and I can see like how soft these are now. And so, you know, I don't want to leave it in the hot water for too long, so it's as wilted as I would like it to be. So I'll just take it over to the sink and get rid of the water. Now I'm going to run it in cold water as well, because if we don't do that, then the kale will keep on cooking. Right, there we go. But what I'm going to do now with this kale is I'm just going to get as much of the water out as I can, because it's really easy for water to get trapped in it. Which is good in one respect, because we're going to be putting a thin dressing onto this, and so that will get trapped in the kale leaves, and so the kale leaves will be able to be it will carry the sauce into our mouth, which is exactly what we want. But if there's too much water in here, then what is that going to do to our recipe? It's really going to make it quite watery. It's going to take away the flavour that we're going to put into it. So we'll just get rid of that. Okay. Just going to give this a wipe again, just to get a bit of water out of there, and then our kale can go back in there. So you see how much it decreased in size. Really, really, really quite a lot. Okay, so that's done. Just pop it out of the way. There we go. And now we've got our edamame beans. So our edamame beans were frozen. You can just leave them out to defrost if you want to. They take longer to defrost just out on the counter, longer than peas do, because peas are smaller. But I'm just going to pop some hot water onto these. And they can just sit there in their little hot bath and get completely defrosted. So we can just pop that one out of the way. Okay. Now I'm just going to double check how our quinoa is doing. There we go. So there's still quite a bit of water in there, but it's softening up nicely. So I think like another 5 minutes. There we go. Put the lid back on. I'll just turn it down slightly. But I do have that kettle there, so if the pan does completely dry out, I can just top the pan up with a bit of that hot water. So whenever I'm cooking anything like millet or buckwheat or quinoa or rice or anything like that, I always make sure that I have some hot water to hand, so that if it does dry out, I can just top it up with a bit of hot water, because if we put cold water in it, what's going to happen is it's going to really slow down the whole cooking process, and it's going to take much longer than we wanted it to. Okay, so I'll just check on the sweet potato as well. Well, I would say that it looks fine, but I can't actually see anything because my glasses have completely steamed up. There we go, you're coming back into focus. Right, okay, I can't get used to that. I just cannot get used to that. Okay, right, let me just see if we've got any more questions. Okay, well, Doug says, why doesn't Elton John eat kale? Because he's a rocket man. Okay, right, okay. Colleen says that joke wouldn't work in the US. I know it's called rocket from watching the live demos. Yeah, absolutely. It's arugula. So you'd say, why doesn't Elton John eat kale? Because he's a arugula man. Yeah, it doesn't work. Okay, right. Okay, so we're nearly there. The only thing that we're left to cook is our seeds. So you can toast them if you want to, but you can decide not to toast them. That's absolutely fine. I prefer to toast them because I find that toasted seeds have such an amazing flavour. So with the pumpkin seeds that we've got here, quite often I like to just have those toasted, and then like when you're watching a film, something like that. Really, really lovely, healthy snack. So let's bring the pan over, and we will just toast our seeds. So we can just toast them in the same pan. We may as well. Okay, so I'm just going to put it onto a medium heat. We want to make sure that we don't burn these, because it is very, very easy to do so. And, you know, if you're using something like pine nuts or, you know, other seeds that are expensive, it can be like such a pain when you manage to burn them. Really, really annoying. So I've just got that on a medium to low heat. No oil, nothing like that. And we're just going to wait until the sunflower seed will start to change colour, and the pumpkin seed will start to pop. So you'll start to hear, like, you know, this little sound, and it will be them popping. But what we want to do is, as I said, we want to make sure that they don't overcook, that they don't burn, they don't catch. So I'm going to grab a plate so that once they're done, I'm going to whip them out of the pan really quickly. Yeah, that one will do. That one will do. Okay, so whilst that is doing, oh, Maria's here. Maria says hello. I'm late, but I'll watch later. No problem. No problem. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me just keep an eye on that. Okay. Right. So whilst this is doing, we can make our dressing. So I've got my little jug here, and I've got the 3 ingredients that I'm going to be using. So first of all, we've got yuzu juice, which I absolutely love. Let me just bring that to the camera. Now, yuzu is a citrus, and it is really fragrant. It's so, so lovely. One of my favourite ingredients. But of course, I know that not everybody will be able to get hold of that. So lime juice is a really good alternative. But if you can find yuzu, then I do recommend you trying it, because it is really, really, really delicious. So it just kind of like takes this salad up to the next level, really. Okay, so I'll pop, was it 1 tablespoon? into my jug. There we go. And then we've got, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. So there are 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon. So I know that I can just fill my little spoon, my 1 tablespoon, 2/3 of the way. There we go, and that will be enough. See? There we go. There we go, they're done. You can shush. Right, there we go. Okay, so our seeds are done. As I was saying, grab them out of the pan as soon as they are done. We don't want them to overcook. Okay, and then the last ingredient for our dressing is tamari. I'm going to have to take this off. I hate those little things because I always want to add a lot of tamari to whatever I'm making. Oh gosh, it was 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Sorry, I am awake. I promise. So a little bit more. There we go. There we go. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and it's 2 teaspoons of tamari. So with your tamari, guys, it may differ. The one that I've got is quite strong tasting. This is the one from Clear Spring. It is very, very strong tasting. So one of the ways that you can see if the one that you're going to buy is strong or not strong is by looking at the ingredients list. So I know in the UK, with the ingredients list, the dominant ingredient, the one that takes up, more, is in a greater quantity in this, is first. So in the ingredients list with this one, the first ingredient is soya beans. Great, okay. Second ingredient is water. Now there is another brand of tamari that I've used before that isn't as strong tasting, and when I look on the ingredients list, water is first and then soya beans is second. So that indicates that there's more water in it than soya beans. Right, I'm just going to check on the quinoa, guys. Just grab a spoon. Yay! Right, okay. So we've got our seeds, we've got our dressing, we've got our pecans, we've now got our lovely quinoa. I'm just making myself steam up again. Bridget is here, and Bridget is sharing yuzu juice. So thank you. Oh, Vidya says I accidentally bought ponzu instead of yuzu. Oh, no good thing. I think I have lemons. Okay, yeah. Lemons would be good. Lemons would be very, very good. Okay. But we want to cool this down because it's salad. It isn't meant to be a hot salad. So I'm going to grab a plate and a bowl so we can get this cooled down ASAP. There we go. So that's for our quinoa, just to cool down. There we go, as quickly as possible. There we go. So this is a really, really great way to get food to cool down as quickly as possible, which is just to give it more surface area. So, whether it's something that is, more liquidy, like a soup or a stew, or if it's something like rice, and of course, rice has like a bacteria in it. It's really, really, it's so much healthier to get rice to cool down as quickly as possible because of the bacteria that's in it. But this just is my favourite way of making things cool down as quickly as I can do. There we go. So we'll just put that to one side, and we'll check on the sweet potato. Let me just grab a lovely dish for our salad to go in. There we go. Oh. Okay, right. I managed to open the door without my glasses steaming up. I'm so proud of myself. What? Why am I psychic? Denise says, can I add shallots to this recipe? Just feel I might need that oniony flavour. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a real kind of like choose your own adventure recipe. Completely. Okay, so we've got our sweet potato here. But I just want to grab a fork and just see how it's done. So it is cooked, but it's still got it's not like completely mushy, which is what I want. I want it to have more of a structure to it. So I'm just going to pop these onto my board just to cool down, and then we can start assembling our salad. Right, there we go. Okay. Right, so now we've got all the composite parts, including our edamame. Let me just spread these out so they cool down as well. There we go. There we go. And I'm just going to take one of the edamame. You see, that's completely not frozen at all. So we'll get all of the water out of this. And again, we want to do it really well. Getting all of that water off, so we're not going to be putting any water into our salad. Okay. Right, so guys, let me just see if I've got any more comments. I've not been able to keep up with them today. I'm so sorry if I've missed anything. If there have been any cooking questions, then can you please type them in now? You know, cooking questions that I've missed, because all of you guys have been very chatty today, which is really lovely to see. But I'm not sure whether if I've missed anything. So please do let me know. Okay, so when I make up this salad, I do like to start with the kale. So I put the kale around the outside in a kind of like wreath style, because I think I really want to see these like different bright colours really popping out. There we go. So that's our kale. And then we've got our, actually I'm going to do some quinoa in the bottom there. Okay, just pop more in. There we go. I'm being a bit too delicate with that. Denise says it's eat the rainbow salad. Love the colours. Yeah, me too. Me too. And I guess that's probably why I put the quinoa first, because you know it's not a colour that really pops or anything like that. Especially this one that is more, I call it like a whole grain quinoa. Okay, what's next? We'll put some of our lovely edamame beans. I really like having like a couple of different greens in this as well, actually. Okay, and now our sweet potato. Okay. Sorry. Our sage. Not missing anything, am I? So the seeds and the nuts will just add some extra crunch and a bit of texture. You know, I really don't like food that just has the texture of baby food at all. At all. Vinny says colours are important. They say we eat with our eyes first, but I don't eat anything that can stare back at me. I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, Colleen says, I know you didn't put any oil on the sweet potato, but did you put any seasoning? A little salt and pepper? No, I didn't. But the you know, I don't feel like I need to in something like this because I know that the dressing that I'm using has a lot of flavour to it. So in this dressing, and we can put the dressing on now, we've got the tamari, which is very salty. We've got the olive oil, which has a lot of flavour itself, and then we've got the yuzu, which has a lot of flavour. But of course, you know, if you guys want to put salt and pepper on it, then, you know, please do go ahead. So I'm going to use a spoon to drizzle this over because I just want to make sure that it goes everywhere. There we go. And I would present it like this, but what you can do is once it actually gets to the table, you can get, you know, your salad spoons and actually like mix it up if you want to. So there we go. There we go. That's my superfood salad, and I am definitely going to try some of that. Let me just grab a fork. There we go. Oh, Colleen says I have walnut oil. Going to try that for this salad. Yes, I absolutely love walnut oil. Paul says, is quinoa cheap or expensive now? I think I remember there was a shortage for a while, making it expensive. Yeah, it can be. It can be expensive. The one that I buy is from Hobby Dodds, which you can buy in paper bags as well, directly from them, and then they give you a percentage off if you buy a greater quantity, which is great. That quinoa is also grown and produced in the UK, which is fabulous. So that will bring the cost down. Denise says it looks deliciously healthy. Yes, it does. It does, definitely. It's so tasty. So tasty. Oh, Doug says it looks lovely. Thank you. It tastes lovely. Christine says we often toast a mix of seeds. We toss in tamari, then make a tasty sprinkle. Yeah, absolutely. Really, really good tip there. Doug said I think I'll add avocado and make it a macro bowl. Good idea. Really, really good idea. Oh, Patricia said the same thing, that she'll add avocado and red peppers too. Yeah, this is like one of those recipes that you can really just make your own, and you can just like throw things together and make, you know, a really, really hearty meal. But as I said earlier, you know, it isn't something that's gonna, it isn't gonna make you feel bloated, which is fabulous. Connie says close up, please. Okay, right. Coming. Here we go, guys. A lovely bowl of rainbow food. And just to say, this is quite a special one for me to do because this was the recipe that I made at the first demo that I ever did, that was in London Veg Fest many, many years ago, and I was so nervous. I was so nervous. So yeah, not as nervous today. But that's because I have all of you lovely people here supporting me. Okay, so Paul was saying something about a 5:15 kickoff. Apparently there's a football match on. Okay. Vidya says, yum, cannot wait to cook. It's 4:45 a.m. Oh my gosh, Vidya. Thank you for tuning in. That she woke up just for this. Thank you so much. That's lovely. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. Next week I'll be showing you guys how to make protein brownies. So, you know, for anybody who wants to do protein loading, or anybody who wants like a tasty snack for after you've been to the gym, it's a really, really good recipe for you. And also, I childishly really like the idea of non-vegans saying to you, so where do you get your protein? Typical question, right? Where do you get your protein? And us being able to say, brownies. Where do you get yours from? Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing? Okay, so join me next week for that. It's a really, really, really simple recipe. And yeah, we've got a few thank yous. Thank you. Patricia says, thanks, Dave. Beautiful recipe for a miserable day.
again in the UK. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But we've got sunshine on our plate, right? Sunshine and rainbows on our plate. Okay, right, leaving it there, guys. Please do, as always, have a lovely day.